part do you think is more difficult? Is it one, two, or three?
I think everything is difficult because of the time, teacher.
Everything. Okay. All right. But if you're going to choose one, is it part one, two, or three?
I think part two.
Part two.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
Hello, sorry. Since the teachers will do their demo for PREC, can you choose anywhere between part 3 or part 1, please?
Ah, sure, ma'am. All right. So let us focus on part number one.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's check out your first answer here. So, for you to be able to make a sentence or to maximize the time, which is 30 seconds, right? You're
Mm.
given 30 seconds. Okay. So I will be teaching you here a method, which is the PREC method. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, this is the time that you share your screen, not at the warm-up page, but in the answer correction page. It's this part.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Lizelle, we have here the PREC method. All right. So, letter P here stands for, can you tell me? We have here point.
Point.
All right. And for point, this is like your main idea or your main answer. Okay. So, for your point, you can start by using this phrases here. Can you choose one from the examples?
Personally, I believe.
Personally, I believe. Okay. Let's choose here video games. Okay. So you can start using this. So the question is, do you play video games? All right. So for you to be able to maximize the 30 seconds, you can use prec or since you only have 30 seconds, you can also use PRE or you have the point, reason, and example, right? Because it is shorter. We only have 30 seconds. Okay, so for your point, you want to use personally, I believe. Okay, let me just edit. Sorry, font color black. All right, and would you like to start answering the question using the phrase you have chosen? Personally, I believe.
Personally, I believe playing video games
Good.
is makes you release or helps you to release stress.
Okay, helps you to release stress. Okay, good. So you are starting with a great point here already, and then you can continue with a reason. Okay, why do you think it helps you release stress? Okay, you can choose a starting line here from the phrases given. Can you choose one?
The reason for this or that is
Okay, the reason for this or that is all right. And then you can give me two or one reason for this. Can you give me or can you enumerate some reasons?
uh reason why it release stress.
Uh-huh, yes.
Ah, yes, because um there you forget some of your problems
Okay.
for the meantime.
For the meantime. All right. For the meantime. Okay. So for prec method, you can also be flexible. You can stick to like PRE, just like what I've told you a while back, right? So you can give two reasons. Can you think of another reason?
And also
Good.
Um, Playing with some of my friends
Okay.
is really fun.
All right. Good. Is really fun. Good. All right. Let's try to have an example. Okay. Could you give examples on how you could support your reason? So, for example, you can add one or two for this. Can you choose one and then give me your example?
Mm. To give an example,
Good.
after studying many or reading many articles,
Mm-hmm.
when my friends are inviting me to play some video games, it makes me excited and uh, it gives me more energy.
Excited and it gives me more energy. All right. So since you only have 30 seconds for this, I think this should be enough already. You can just use PRE. Okay. So let's check out your answer. This is your original answer. Original answer. Okay, let me just make it bigger. All right. And if you were to differentiate your answers here, reason. Okay, let me just fix. I'm sorry. There you go. All right. What can you say about your original answer and the second answer you have made using the method?
I think teacher is more longer.
That's right.
It's longer than the previous answer, and also it has like
Questions.
mm,
It
uh,
has.
it is more understandable.
It is more understandable. Okay. I would agree with that one. So, since for prec method, this helps you organize your thoughts, right? And it also
Mm.
helps you maximize the time given, which is 30 seconds. Okay. But we are not going to stop here. For us to improve your answer, we can also add some collocations, some idioms, and all right. Can you tell me how do you feel about your mock test?
I feel kind
help you on part two. Maybe I could, or maybe I could be of help to you in improving your scores because on
Okay,
this part
wait.
two topic,
Because the
it's
video.
really the hardest part. Most
Wait a
of my
minute.
students are
The video was like cut short. um, the teacher here will be upgrading the answer more using some adding some collocations, idiomatic expressions. So example, there's a word happy, so then you can prompt your student and say, okay, what do you think is like an expression that indicates or that has happy meaning. So if your student doesn't know that, then you can provide, okay, maybe you can say I'm in cloud 9. So then you record it here. So that's how you can add collocations and idiomatic expressions. So at the end of the upgrading of the answer, what's going to happen is you will come up with an improved answer already. So there's the original and the improved answer. And then uh, teacher asked the student, okay, how do you like your improved answer? And then the student said, oh, the answer is more logical and more complete and all that. So, okay. So now, since we're done with that, I'm going to ask the question once again. do you think, should you, blah, blah, blah. So ask the question and then you can click the timer. Then the student will use the method that you taught, the PREC method. Um, Using that as a mind map, you can actually share your screen showing the improved answer, but not for a student to read, but for a student to try to answer one more time. Because at the beginning, the answer was quite short, you have improved it, and then let the student feel using the improved answer. So if there is still time in this part, because it's 20 to 25 minutes, you can cover another question here. Okay. Teacher Rashid did not teach C. C is conclusion here. So I will show you later on in the website what to click to see what she clicked here. So here, C is the conclusion. So point, reason, example, and conclusion. So in part one, C is optional, but in part three, you must have a conclusion. Because in part one, um, one point, reason, and example is enough. So she actually taught part three, which is point, two reasons, and two examples. And then there has to be a conclusion there. Okay, maybe I have to upload another video here. Meantime, that's that answer correction. And then after the answer correction will be the band score feedback. Okay, here it is.
So this time, let us now proceed to your band score feedback. For your overall score this time, you received an overall score of 6.5. Let's start with one of your strongest points, which is your pronunciation. So I would say that you really have an excellent pronunciation. This means to say that you were able to pronounce words and sounds accurately earlier, and during our conversation, I also understood you all throughout it.
Okay, since this one doesn't show the website, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to share the website while the teacher is trying to deliver that part. Okay, wait a minute. So here it is. So the band score feedback looks like this. We came from answer correction, right? Which is the when you share your screen and try to improve the student's answer. After that will be the band score feedback. It's gonna look like this. Okay, let me extend that a little bit. Yeah, it looks like this.
Okay, so that's a good point of yours. Additionally, I would also like to highlight this part. Earlier, you were able to use sentence stress and intonation effectively, mostly for intonation. Okay, it means to say that you knew when to make your voice rise and fall. So there was a variation in your tone of voice, making you not sound monotonous at all when you were answering the question. So that's a good thing, okay? Because it makes your answers quite engaging to listen to. Moving on, we have here your grammatical range and accuracy. So
This
earlier
one.
you were able to use a range of sentence structures, which means to say that both simple and complex sentences were used. So good job. Additionally, I wasn't able to quite catch a lot of errors. Therefore, you had little to no errors in terms of grammatical structure. Okay, but I would just like you to be more careful in terms of your grammatical tenses. Okay, be more careful in terms.
So
Are
she's
you
typing
familiar with
here.
grammatical tenses?
Yes.
So we have past, present, and future, right? So as you have noticed earlier in part two, some verbs that were in the present tense, we change them into the past, right? Because that scenario already happened in the past. So I would like you to be more careful of this one. Okay? Then we have here your lexical resource. I do believe that you have a good range of vocabulary. This means to say that earlier you were able to provide a variety of words and phrases. Provided a variety of words and phrases. Additionally, you also avoided some repetitions of words and
Lexical
phrases in your
resource.
answer. So for each question, you were able to use a variety of vocabulary. So that's a good point of yours. You were able to paraphrase. They
Over
avoided
here, use paraphrasing.
repetition. Meanwhile, we have here your fluency and coherence. For each part, you were able to speak at length. See, spoke, hold on for a second,
Speak at
at
length.
length. This means to say that earlier you were able to add a lot of details in your answer. See, added a lot of details. And it's really impressive that in part two, you were able to organize your ideas there very well. So you gave me a clear picture of what you wanted to express earlier. Okay, that's really good. Now, what I would just like you to pay attention to would be on repetition and self correction. So there were some instances earlier when you tend to correct yourself,
Repetition.
right? For example, you already mentioned a particular phrase. However, you felt the need to correct yourself. Therefore, you mentioned another particular word or phrase which caused disfluency in your answer. So I would like you to pay attention on this one. Now, I would also like you to try to use more connectors. Okay? More connectors. There you go.
Connectors.
Because this will allow you to connect your answers or your ideas seamlessly. So,
Okay, so basically, what the teacher is trying to teach here in the band score is that you need to start with the overall score. Your overall score is 5.5, and start always with a strength, which is the highest score, and then followed by the weaknesses, because that will be the points of improvement of your student. So that's when they needed more information. So, meaning to say, you got to type here. Let's say you said you need to speak at length. This one is clickable. You can click that. Whichever you were mentioning, click it and then put some details here. As you notice, there are some encoding here. So these are some details about this. So the requirement here is you should type at least 10 words per criteria on what the students need to improve on. And this is just 4 to 5 minutes, and this one is clickable. Okay, so after this, remember, your evaluator will just see if you started with a strength followed by the weakness. And then you must also be able to briefly discuss what you wanted to say to your student, whether it's strength or the weakness. Okay, so next we move on to the course plan. Course plan, 3 minutes. And then this one is 3 minutes and it can lead to the homework, the last part.
All right. So do you have any questions you'd like to ask me about the exam or my feedback? If none, let's move on to your course plan. So your mock test score is 4.5, your target score is 7, and you still have more than 3 months to prepare for your test. So this is what we suggest. You
90,
take one
90
class a day.
days.
You sign up for around 50 to 60 classes, and during your speaking exercises, we will be combining the different parts of the test. I will guide you through the practice sessions, and together we will create model answers based on your ideas, which will include the vocabulary, the phrases, the collocations, and most importantly, the ideas that would answer questions effectively. And if needed, we will also practice different topics independently and learn independent.
Okay, just since it was cut again, Here it is, the course plan. You will just have to mention, just read it. Your mock test score is 5.5. Your target score is 7. So as you can see here, preparation time is a long time, right? So what you need to do is just read it. As you can see here, the suggested class frequency is 1 class per day for approximately 30 to 40 classes all in all. Don't worry, this is just system generated. So that's like you need to mention that so that they won't feel pressured to enroll. So, and then our practice mode, I need you, this one is clickable. Click on the box, not on that dot. So our practice mode will be for part 1 will be it can be sometimes a combination of part 1 and 3, and then for part 2 we can do an independent topic teaching, and then that's all. Confirm. So after that, you move on to the homework and mention that here, because this one, as you can see here, preview the content of the next class and also the class report. The class report pertains to the band score feedback. This one. This is a class report, and also the scoring, and also they have a notes here, what you have upgraded, right? So here you can say that you can contact our TA or teacher assistants so that you can preview the next class. And then for the band score report, you can also get it from them. Okay, so if everything is fine, I hope to see you next time. Have a good day. Bye. So that's the end of it. And then save, complete. And then there's a pop-up, confirm. So if you have filled it up properly, submitted na yon. Yung etong, because this one is online. So if the student is having a trial class with you, then after our class, then I can have already an access to the report that you have given here in this warm-up page. Okay, so wait a minute. Let me go back a little bit to the answer correction. So let's say this is the answer correction part, right? This is where you're going to do the full mock test. It's here, answer correction part. So after the warm up, you will do the scoring in part 2, and then mock test will be here, 11 to 14 minutes. These are the topics, 3 topics in part 1. This will be the questions. So I suggest, since this is 30 seconds each and you just need 4 minutes in part 1, I suggest try to compute. Maybe all in all, you can spend only 4 minutes in part 1. So 30 seconds, the 1 minute na yon. Another 2 questions, 2 minutes. So maybe go to the next one. So another 2, that's 4 minutes na. Wala pa yung colors. So since it is like 11 to 14 minutes, make sure that you compute, because some of the questions here are a lot. Okay. This is the timer, and then as you type here, these are some of the fonts, the sizes, and then you can highlight, and then this is the save button. Okay, and then in part 2, since you will have to send this to your student, it's either you get it from here, highlight from down, going up hanggang sa taas, hanggang here. Since it's kind of hard to do that, what I do is you can get the part 2 question like what teacher did. She got it from here, full mock test. You cannot type here, but you can copy this easily. See? So if I copy here and I send it in the chat box, it's very easy to send. Or you can also paste it in a notepad so that By the time you will send it in the chat box, then already copy and paste is easier. Okay. So what else? That's part 2. And then scoring again is this one. Make sure you click save. And when it's all clicked, magge-generate siya ng score dito. 5.5. So this one will be reflected here. 5.5. Okay. So when the student hasn't taken the IELTS exam, I suggest that you can reflect this on your side kasi hindi ka pa naman nag-share screen. So you can just read it. Part 1, there will be it'll be 4 to 5 minutes. We will have several questions for 3 different topics. It's all about personal topics about you, and then personal questions about you rather. And then part 2, this will be like a storytelling. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare, and you may take some notes if you wish. And then there's 1 to 2 minutes for you to speak. And then part 3 is related to part 2. It is a more generalized questions related to this, but it's more abstract questions, and it's composed of 4 questions. So 4 questions, that's 1 minute each. Okay, so that's how you can use this tab. And then again, warm up. That will be if the student hasn't taken the IELTS exam before, yung magre-reflect na score dito will be their current score. So, di ba, nag-warm up kayo and then you were able to ask the part 1 questions, then you can give the current score of the student. Then save. Okay. So, let me know your questions this time.